moving on, we've got another speaker that we're going to come and address you today. Aging, of course, very important, but we're going to move on to Noomane Fehri is coming to join us today. During his time in Tunisia, he was known as the startup minister. He did not start life in politics. He started life actually as a geophysicist. He worked with some of the biggest names in business like Schlumberger and Atos, not just in Europe, not just in Africa, but in Asia and around the world. But after the revolution in Tunisia, he returned to his native land and he got into politics, but in another sense, he stayed in his lane. He went on to become the Minister for ICT and Digital Transformation, yes? Yes. All right, we got it. So ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to hear from our man who is now the CEO of ourfuture.org.
Our digital future.
There we go. Thank you very much, Noomane. And we are
in our digital future.
Okay. And he's going to come and speak to us about that. And are you ready for action?
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome from Tunisia, Noomane Fehri. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there? Thank you. Is there? Oh, okay, I can sit here. First, thank you. I'll go next to one screen because don't look at me, look at the screen. It's impressive how our presentation are saying the same thing with Antonio. Antonio, I will say that we are already beyond the tipping point of the new era. And that's what I'm trying to go through. I call this presentation the next few seconds, thinking of the next few seconds of humanity rather than what is day-to-day life. My first point is to demonstrate that what Antonio is saying, we are already there. The second, I want to talk about what's happening in Africa and what is the role of private sector and the role of politicians. Who believe that we are already here? Okay, who doesn't believe that we are already here? So you are either not awake or you are questioning yourself, where are we in the evolutions? So I'll try to convince you that we are really there. If you look at the technology curve and the invention, we have two phenomena happening. Number one, the rate of invention is being faster, but equally importantly, the rate of propagation and adoption of that invention is becoming faster. I'm not saying that we are going here, but there is a risk. And I would like to go back to say, if you think about it, we invented tools 80,000 years ago, but we invented tools which create tools, which is the Industrial Revolution only 200 years ago, which means in the space, if we bring that to 24 hours, it is only the last few seconds where the Industrial Revolution happened. And if you think about information, we started to use information a long time ago, 12,000 years ago, when it is yellow, harvest. When it is brown, go and put your seeds, etc. But the explosion, the information to create information, which is information square, if you like, started only with internet, which is 50 years ago. Which means, again, if you bring that to 24 hours, it's only the last few seconds of humanity that things are transforming. This means to scientists like you are, this is an exponential curve. This is nothing more than an exponential curve. And if you see if you see the rate of adoption and the invention over the last 100 years, and you see how long it takes to adopt them. Let me be more explicit. For example, cars. It took 35 years to populate the world, to be present all over the world. Computer, 20 years. Internet, 15 years. And then obviously Facebook, 7 years, 2 years, 1 month Pokemon Go and they disappeared. Which means the propagation of technology is becoming very, very fast. One person invents something somewhere, somebody else use it and invent something on top of it. For example, 3D printing will be changing the construction industry. Internet of Things combined with biotechnology will change totally the pharmaceutical model. So I hope with this first part I demonstrate that we are really in the steep part of the exponential curve. Now, if you are convinced that you are here, we can continue the discussion. If we are not convinced that we are here, tough luck, you will see it by your own eyes in the next few years. So, I believe, honestly, that humanity is evolving like God wanted us to evolve, or we want to evolve, because we are evolving because we have increasing rate of innovation multiplied by an increasing speed of adoption. So the curve is really, really steep. So don't worry, we are just getting into the new era. So let's try to understand what will happen within the next few seconds of humanity, knowing that whoever, we have a saying in our region, we have a hadith which says, كَذِبَ الْمُنَجَّمُونَ وَلَوْ صَدَقُوا, which means no matter what you'll predict, you are wrong. But let's try to do this exercise. If the next, in an exponential curve, the next 5 years, the world will change as much as the last. In the next 10 years, the world will change as big. The change will be as big as the last 50 years. It's an exponential curve. But if you think about it, the next 30 years, the world will change as much as the last 1,000 years. We talked about aging. Today, this fantastic lady is probably 70, but in 2050, she may be 120. That's thanks to e-health, biotechnology, preventive medicine, nanotechnology, personalized medicine, as Antonio was saying. Unfortunately, there will be area like this, but area like this, there is new technology. The bigger cities will have created already shared economy, clean tech, urban farming, and plenty of other stuff. The self-driving, the transportation will be totally different with self-driving cars. Your grandchildren may not have the right to drive cars because computer-driven cars are safer than human-driven cars. Unfortunately, let me introduce you your grandchildren babysitter. I hope not. But with mechatronics, wearable technology, artificial intelligence, we may go there, and that's the a question that we need to ask ourselves. So within this change in the world, what is happening in Africa? I'd like to, and that's my focus, which is Africa. The good news for Africa, that now with internet, there is fantastic thing, which is education barriers are lower. We have equality of chances through e-education because of the internet, which is now the more government give internet to people, the more they are educated. The other things, we remark in most countries, probably because the governments are failing or not doing what they can, or the problem is bigger than government, there is a rise of entrepreneurships because youth are giving up on jobs in government as they used to do 10 years ago, and they don't believe in job for life. And the ones of you who have kids understand that they don't want to do job for life. Every 2 years they want to change because they know how to climb that steep curve. And the other thing, that there is a new phenomena, which is the influence of international trusted network. And I believe that WBAF could be an international trusted network that we all use in order to maximize the benefit for all our countries. So things are crazy in Africa right now. The number of tech hubs are being multiplied by 50% every year. That is, this number is 6 months ago, 618 tech hubs. Now we are 1,000 tech hubs in Africa. This is the Lagos FinTech environment. This is the Nairobi one. This is the Cote d'Ivoire. This is the Tunisia one. This is the Rwanda, Zimbabwe, etc., etc. There is also some ecosystem that is happening. The fourth industrial revolution venture, for example, when people are getting together to tackle problems. Investment is start to flow in Africa. It's being multiplied every time by 50%, adding 50%. It reached $2 billion. Yes, it is good compared to last year. However, it's still too little for what it should be. Now, what is our role as investors, as business angel, and what is the role of the government? In order to do that, let me go through a simple concept, which is, I think, is the essence of what we are doing. If you look at the bottom, you start with an idea stage, then you go to do an early stage when you do a proof of concept as a startup, and you probably need 10K, euros, dollars, pounds, whatever. And then you go and you need 100K to go to find your first customer. But then you need $1 million to go to find few customers, and 5 million or 10 million to do scale up. So it's but for every company who gets 1 million, there is probably 10 companies who got 1 million and didn't reach the next level. And for each company who get 1 million, there is probably 10 companies who got 100K and didn't reach that levels. Because the rate of success from one state to another is roughly 1 every 10, if we leave them alone. Our job, which means that in every 10,000 youngsters who have an idea to become a scale-up, only one succeed. And that's terrible. And our job is to reduce that. How? I think what we need to do to bring it to one, if we make this more efficient, twice more efficient, we make it 1 every 5, go to the next level of evolution, we will go to every 600 idea reached the scale-up stage, which means we make the system more efficient 15 times. This is a theory. Now, in practice, that's exactly what we did. That's exactly what we did, and that's the role of the business angel. So, and this is a Tunisia example. When the business angel opportunity and duty is to make sure that they act on that level, that incubation, acceleration level, when youngsters require 100, 10K, 20K, 50K, we need them there. We don't need them in the 5 million and 10 million, because if you deserve to get 10 million, an investment of 10 million, there is plenty of money for that. But if you deserve to get 10K or 10K, you can find it. You have the 3 F's, the family, friends, and fools. But if you need 50K or 100K, you cannot find it. And that's the role of the business angel. And it's not only the money, but it's allowing access to expertise, access to expertise, access to market, and access to the next level of finance. Here is some of the, and this you do it through incubator, accelerator, and business angel groups. I'll give you an example. This is my own example. 3 years ago, we created BIAT Labs. After 2 years, 1,200 applied, 4 cohorts with 45 incubated, 23 startups secured external investment, not from us, not from me, from others, 23, and everyone on average received 150K investment, which makes the total value of the 23 startup 30 millions. These are people who would never had a chance to go to the next level if they didn't go through that incubator and they didn't find the business angel. And they created, obviously, 50 plus jobs. So, I'll continue. What is the role of the public? The public needs to provide internet access, e-educations, provide a mean to get finance, whether microfinance or finance, and make sure that in Africa there is an international payment means, and do 21st century laws, which means you cannot continue to have 21st century kids with 20th century government leaders and 19th century law. It's not sustainable, and that's what is happening. In Tunisia, for example, we have done 2 things. One, a Startup Act law, which basically it says, leave them alone. Government, get out of the way, leave startup alone. When they will make money, in 2 minutes, yes. When they get money, they will pay tax. But don't ask them to fill tax form while they are experimenting. Basically, that's what it says. And we put a $200 million fund, which we will create fund of funds that we will distribute it to the same triangle I was saying. And that is the way to support a very vibrant ecosystem. For 12 million population, we have roughly 47 support structure with 700 startups already labelized. So, a few slides. We are not stopping there. We are going from Tunisia because in the Maghreb there is also Morocco, which is well developed, and we created the Maghreb Startup Network, and the Maghreb Startup Network will do many initiatives. This is one of the initiatives that we will be. This is what we did. We went to WBAF, IBAN, ABAN, and the Carthage Business Angel, and thank you, Marcel, for the IBAN work and all the people who interviewed to create what would be the best practice learned from each of the Business Angel Network in order to create a Maghreb-wide Business Angel Network. We don't do it scientifically. We want to learn from everybody, and hopefully we will announce it in Cork in the European Business Angel Forum. I believe that we need to do more in Africa with the Smart Africa. We are supporting the Smart Africa consortium, which is done by government but by private sector, and I think we can get there very quickly. But a few things we need to keep in mind, all of us, not only African startups. Then in an increasing technological world, humanity is the most important thing. So let's not forget that. Let's not forget also the world will be very, very complex, and your only boussole, your only campus, I don't know, your only campus is your value system. Let's make sure that every time we do something, we keep our value system clear. That's why I appreciate in WBAF we signed the code of ethics, and also in a tokenized world where money will disappear, you are not as rich, you are as rich as the trust other people are in you. So I believe that when good people like yourself meet, with good intention meet, good things will happen, and I hope they will continue to work in a trusted environment like this to deliver what needs to be delivered to our young generation. Thank you.